Hello everyone, my name is Cyril Gruder and I'm a biological anthropologist. And today I'm going to talk to you about why we care so much about our reputation. And again, we're using evolutionary theory as a navigational guide to answer this question. So let's start with a bit of theory before I give a few examples. In a previous video, we talked about reciprocity as a form of cooperation. So direct reciprocity is when the donor helps a recipient and the recipient then returns the favor directly to the donor. But reciprocity can also be indirect. Take a look at this line from the Bible here. Give and it shall be given unto you. At first glance, this seems to be just another example of direct reciprocity, right? But take a moment to think about this phrase, and you will see that there is a crucial difference here. It's not entirely clear who's doing the giving in response to your act of generosity. Perhaps it's a family member, a friend, or even a stranger. So here, reciprocity is indirect. Indirect reciprocity is when the donor, you can see the donor in blue here, helps another individual, the recipient in purple, and obtains the return benefit from a third party in red here at the bottom on the right side. So here cooperation can evolve and can be sustained via reputation. Individuals who help others obtain a good reputation and are more likely to be helped by third parties in the future. So it's worth paying the cost of cooperation today to earn the benefits of a good reputation tomorrow. So there's the story of the American baseball player Yogi Berra, who was famous for his pithy and witty comments. One of them was a perfect summary of indirect reciprocity. Apparently, he said, always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours. So Berra was counting on the fact that his acts of kindness would not be returned by the recipients, obviously, but by third parties who were moved by his public mourning. So when we commit acts of kindness, we can benefit from a boost in our reputation. It's important that our acts of kindness are witnessed by third parties. And that's why people are more willing to do things like donating blood or giving to charity when their names are publicized. Indirect reciprocity relies on people's ability to effectively communicate and distribute reputational information. Not surprisingly, people spend a great deal of their time talking to each other. They spend a great deal of their time gossiping about the behavior of third parties. There's a German saying, tue Gutes und rede darüber. Do good and talk about it. So in addition to this traditional form of transmitting reputational information, the internet has dramatically expanded our ability to maintain large-scale reputation systems among strangers. Take online markets such as eBay, for example. They have formalized reputation systems in which buyers rate sellers. And as predicted by indirect reciprocity, there is a large economic value associated with having a good eBay reputation. There's also evidence that our tendency to be altruistic is influenced by whether or not we are being watched by others. So here's a cool study. In this experiment, the researchers displayed either an image of a pair of eyes or an image of a flower in a university coffee room. And there was an honesty box on a table to collect money for drinks. So interestingly, people paid nearly 3 times as much for their drinks when the eyes were displayed rather than the flowers. And you can see that in this graph here. On days when flowers were displayed, people had a tendency to pay much less than on days when the pair of eyes were displayed. So when reputation matters, humans are more cooperative. And there's also examples of this observer effect in the animal kingdom. Take, for example, the cleaner wrasse, a fish. The cleaner wrasse gets its meal by plucking parasites off the bodies of its client fishes, even from inside the mouth. But the cleaner wrasse and the client fish both benefit from this arrangement. The cleaner fish gets free food, and the client gets his teeth and his gums brushed, right? But the behavior of the client fish depends on whether it's being watched by others. So the fish grooms its client in the friendliest way when other client fish watch, but without an audience, it's tempted to nibble off pieces of its client's skin. So once again, when we are being observed, when we are being watched, we tend to be more cooperative. Thank you for listening and see you next time.